Topic introduces the concept of business cycles and explains how aggregate economic activity fluctuates over time. A business cycle refers to recurring expansions and contractions in economic activity measured by variables such as gross domestic product, GDP, employment, industrial production, income, and consumer spending. These fluctuations are not perfectly predictable in timing or magnitude, but they follow recognizable phases that influence corporate earnings, interest rates, inflation, and investment performance. Understanding business cycles is essential for financial analysts and portfolio managers because different industries and asset classes perform differently depending on the stage of the economic cycle. Economic analysis therefore plays a central role in investment decision-making and risk assessment. The business cycle is generally divided into 4 phases: expansion, peak, contraction, and trough. During an expansion, economic activity rises as businesses increase production, employment grows, consumer confidence improves, and corporate profits strengthen. Credit becomes more available, supporting investment and spending. Eventually, the economy reaches a peak where growth slows because productive capacity becomes constrained and inflationary pressures emerge. A contraction or recession follows as economic activity declines, unemployment rises, and consumer and business spending weaken. The cycle reaches a trough when economic activity stabilizes at low levels before recovery begins. These phases vary in duration and intensity, making continuous economic monitoring essential for investors and policymakers. Economic indicators help analysts identify current and future phases of the business cycle. Leading indicators tend to change before the broader economy changes direction and are useful for forecasting turning points. Examples include stock market performance, new housing permits, manufacturing orders, and consumer expectations. Coincident indicators move simultaneously with economic activity and include employment levels, industrial production, and personal income. Lagging indicators change after the economy has already shifted direction and include unemployment duration, inflation, and interest rates. Analysts use combinations of these indicators to evaluate economic momentum and anticipate policy responses. Effective interpretation of economic indicators enhances forecasting accuracy and supports strategic asset allocation decisions during changing market environments. Consumer behavior plays a major role throughout the business cycle. During expansions, rising incomes, stronger labor markets, and improved confidence encourage households to increase spending on both essential and discretionary goods. Demand for housing, automobiles, travel, and luxury products often increases significantly. During contractions, however, consumers reduce spending, increase savings, and postpone major purchases because of uncertainty regarding employment and future income. These shifts directly affect corporate revenues and profitability across industries. Consumer confidence indexes and retail sales data therefore serve as important measures of economic health. Investors closely monitor consumer activity because household consumption typically represents a large proportion of GDP in developed economies. Business investment and corporate activity also fluctuate with economic cycles. In periods of expansion, firms increase capital expenditures, hire additional employees, and expand production capacity in anticipation of stronger demand. Profit expectations improve, encouraging borrowing and investment in equipment, technology, and infrastructure. During contractions, companies often reduce investment, delay projects, cut inventories, and implement cost-saving measures to preserve cash flow. Corporate profits decline, and financing conditions may tighten. Cyclical industries such as construction, manufacturing, and consumer discretionary sectors are particularly sensitive to these changes. Understanding how business investment responds to economic conditions helps analysts forecast earnings trends and evaluate the vulnerability of different sectors during recessions. Credit cycles are closely connected to business cycles because changes in borrowing and lending influence economic growth. During economic expansions, banks and financial institutions are generally more willing to extend credit, supporting household consumption, business investment, and asset price appreciation. Easier access to financing can amplify economic growth and encourage risk-taking behavior. However, Excessive borrowing and rising leverage may eventually create financial imbalances. During contractions, lenders tighten credit standards, reducing borrowing and slowing economic activity further. Declining asset values and weaker balance sheets can intensify recessions. Analysts monitor credit growth, default rates, and lending conditions because disruptions in credit markets frequently contribute to economic downturns and financial instability. Government fiscal policy and central bank monetary policy play significant roles in moderating business cycles. During recessions, governments may implement expansionary fiscal policies such as increased public spending or tax reductions to stimulate demand and support employment. Central banks often lower interest rates or increase liquidity to encourage borrowing and investment. During periods of rapid growth and rising inflation, policymakers may adopt contractionary measures by reducing spending, increasing taxes, or raising interest rates. These actions aim to stabilize inflation and prevent economic overheating. Financial markets respond strongly to policy changes because they affect borrowing costs, investment returns, exchange rates, and expectations regarding future economic growth and corporate profitability. Overall, Topic provides a comprehensive framework for understanding how economic activity evolves over time and how those fluctuations influence financial markets. Business cycles affect virtually every aspect of investment analysis, including earnings forecasts, asset valuation, sector rotation, and risk management. Investors who understand cyclical behavior can better anticipate changes in market conditions and position portfolios accordingly. Defensive industries such as utilities and healthcare may outperform during recessions, while cyclical sectors such as technology and consumer discretionary often benefit more during expansions.